Hello, everybody. I have to multitask because my ears are so small, so I can't put the clip on. I'm sorry, okay? So today we're going to talk briefly about speaking in colors. What I've learned throughout my life is that we all speak in colors, and it's the colors that resonates with you as a person. As I go through the overview, you will understand what I mean about speaking in colors. If you're like me, everything that you've done in your life has a lot to do with who you are today. I am the Park, Recreation, and Historical Commissioner for Alameda County. I'm a published author of Get the Cheese, Avoid the Traps, an interactive guide to government contracting that help business owners in the diverse communities to be able to partner by selling their goods and services with Fortune 500 and government buying agencies. I was a former Grammy promoter where I had independent artists and record labels that I work with to get international exposure for their artists. Also, I flew in this morning from the White House. I constantly go to the White House every year to talk about issues pertaining to small businesses, from tax reform, tax cuts, healthcare reform, and things of that nature. And also, I was a former construction project manager for GSA, who operates and owns all the federal buildings, courthouses, and border stations nationwide. Everything I've done, I've had to be able to speak in colors, because in order to get my projects on time, within budget, within scope, I had to be able to deal with diverse people. So without that ability, I would not have been able to accomplish so much. And people are usually shocked that when they see me, that I've done so much in my young years. So where does it begin? It begins at your childhood. Everything that who you are, everything that you have accomplished has a lot to do with who you are as a child. Children, we are happy, we're free, the world is our oyster, right? But as a child, you also deal with diversity biases and the lack of being included. However, you don't let it bother you as much when you're a child. So there are color charts that's associated with speaking in colors. So we're going to go over them briefly. As a child, you primarily operate in primary colors. Each color is associated with a personality trait. Red, the positive, is courage and energy. Red, the negative, is defiant and aggression. Yellow, the positive, is confident, friendly, and creative. Yellow negative, suicidal, depression, and traditional. Blue positive, intellectual, trusting, and efficient. The negative for blue is cold and unfriendly. Can anyone remember, did any of those colors resonate with you when you were a child? Okay. Yes, so that's what happens. But then things change. The conversation changes when you become a teenager. So you are experiencing the diversity and inclusion problems and issues, but also you start to experience love, what that is to you, who you are, self-esteem issues. All those things resonate in how you speak in colors. At this time, you start to be affected by how diversity biases and a lack of being included is truly affecting you. So once again, you're starting to speak in colors. The secondary chart. So for green, positive is harmony and love. Green negative, boredom and stagnation. Purple positive, spiritual awareness and visionary. Purple negative, introverted and inferior. Positive orange, sensual and fun. Negative orange is immaturity and frustration. Once again, can anyone identify with that when they were a kid, as a teenager? So then you become an adult. At this point, you should be defining who you are. So it's your childhood and your teenage years that helps to define who you really truly are. This is where you are really begin to deal with the issues that diversity biases and the lack of being included causes in your life. And if you do not start to operate and understand where you fit in, if you do not begin to decide how are you going to deal with those conversations of being isolated or not being included, then you're going to start having some issues, what I call shades. So as we talked about the primary and secondary colors, these shades of white, gray, and black starts to crowd who you are and how you operate. Let's go over those. So white, creativity and openness, but to others it can appear that you're disinterested and cold. Gray, safe and isolated, but to others it can appear that you are indecisive or emotionally detached. Black, independence and strong-willed, but it can appear that you're too demanding and controlling. Once again, you are an adult and you start to operate within these shades if you're not healed from the diversity biases that's occurring in your life. So it's very important to start looking at that and being perfectly honest about how are these diversity issues and inclusion issues are starting to affect you. Because if you don't, you're going to start operating and interacting with others through those lenses. Here's how it shows up. Toxic. I am a triangle. I just hate triangles. And when we want your opinion, we'll tell you what it is. You start bullying. You start becoming extreme in your actions. So what happens is when you are operating in toxicity because of you're not being accepted, you might be extremely introverted or extremely extroverted, extremely demanding, extremely controlling. You might be extremely suppressed or extremely oppress others. Those are the lenses that you're operating in, and you may not think that. Or you might be extremely isolated in your own silo, always lonely because you're feeling these issues and don't know how to work through them. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Once again, as you're interacting with others, if you're not careful in how you are dealing with each other because you have these issues, then you're going to start interacting with people the way that you think they're interacting with you. Have anybody been there when they're hurt or they feel that they're not being included or they don't fit in? They're starting to see things differently, and it's not really them, it's you. It's the energy that you're conveying to that conversation, to that person. Together we all can win. Separate we fail. So what has to happen is we have to roll up our sleeves to do better. We have to roll up our sleeves to say, okay, I have this issue within myself, whether it's from my childhood, teenage years, my community, my family even. And I'm going to have to try to work through this because I didn't feel included, but I'm going to have to do better because it's going to affect my goals. It's going to affect my company. It's going to affect how I interact with other people. And then after that, if you don't heal from that, you're going to find that people do not want to deal with you. We all are going through these different types of diversity biases and lack of being included, but we have to find ways to work through it and and accept the differences. Diversity and inclusion churns the wheel to innovation and purpose. If we all work together, this will be a great country because everybody's bringing something different to the table, whether it's through your race, religion, your culture, sexual identity, whatever it is, everyone is bringing something different and unique. So we have to be able to accept everyone. Diversity and inclusion includes all colors of the rainbow. Back to speaking in colors. As you can see on the color palette, the colors are associated with different feelings and emotions. We have to learn how to embrace that. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of things. First, learn your own color. What color are you? Not your race or your religion or anything like that. What color are you on the color palette? Learn how to embrace the colors of others, number 2. Learn how to accept them. Accept who they are. Yes, they're different than you, but it's okay. And number 3, let others feel safe. Just because they're different than you and you may not understand them, try to understand them. Because it's very important to be able to do that to reach the goal, the project, or whatever you want to accomplish. Like I showed you my life earlier, I could not have accomplished those things if I did not learn how to speak the color of those I had to work with. So wouldn't it be funny if we all looked the same? If we had a party, we wouldn't know who came. We couldn't tell the difference between our mothers and the teachers because every single one of us would have the exact same features. Do we want that? No, we don't. Thank you.